I'm Dudu. Hello everyone! Now that we've established our design tokens and naming conventions in the previous part, it's time to design the foundational elements of our design system. Let's dive into Part 3 Foundation. Typography is the most essential visual language for conveying the service's voice to its users. We're going to examine the fundamental system of typography, one of our foundational elements, step by step. First, let's start by looking at the units. Units are the smallest foundational agreements that determine every value within a design system. It's not just about writing down numbers, it's about establishing measurement standards for error-free communication between designers and developers. Let's jump right in and look at the core units you need to know in professional practice. When designing a design system, a huge number of units come flying at you during communication with developers. They vary from PX and REM to SP, DP, PT, and even VW and VH. For now, it's best to just lightly review their names and general concepts on the screen. Don't worry about memorizing all the units we just looked at. In this course, we're going to focus on just 3 core units. Knowing these 3 will take care of 90% of your design system architecture. They are PX, the starting point for all calculations, REM for flexible adaptation, and DP, the standard for mobile environments. To explain these 3 in a bit more detail, PX, short for pixel, is the starting point for all calculations and the default value for working in Figma. Next, REM stands for root EM, and it is an absolute must-know for ensuring the flexibility of web typography. Finally, DP, short for density-independent pixel, is essential for maintaining a consistent physical size across different mobile environments. The web browsers we use provide an option for users to manually change their default font size. For instance, people with low vision often use this setting to scale up the text so they can read it more comfortably. While 16 pixels is typically the default settings, it is important to understand that this base value can vary completely depending on the user. Once you understand this characteristic of browsers, the reason why we must design a flexible design system becomes perfectly clear. Pixels are an absolute unit with a fixed value. If you set your content size in pixels, that size remains uniquely fixed, even if the user manually changes their browser default settings. On the other hand, REM is a relative unit where child elements change along with the base size set by the user. While we design in pixels within Figma, the standard rule in web environments, where accessibility must be considered, is to convert those values into REM to align with the user's browser settings. Let's talk about DP. In mobile environments, every device has a different screen resolution. Because of this, if we only communicate using pixel counts, the size of our UI elements will vary completely from device to device. That is when we need DP. DP is a unit that maintains a consistent physical size to fit the user's finger size, regardless of the screen resolution. The reason we need to understand these units is for efficient collaboration. It's not just about using smaller numbers. Designers must accurately understand the characteristics of each unit to communicate smoothly with developers. Only when we understand how one pixel defined at the one-time scale matches when converted into one REM or one DP in the development environment can a flawless design system be achieved. Now that we understand the units, it's time to look closely at the hidden attributes of typography. We're going to immediately check what structural secrets and alignment errors are hidden within the fundamental typography attributes we used without a second thought in Figma. Let's start by clearly understanding the fundamental attributes of fonts. The blue bounding box that appears when you click on text in Figma is our exact starting point. Now we are going to look closely, step by step, at the secrets of this invisible box and the unique attributes that characters have. When you dive into typography attributes, you'll encounter so many unfamiliar and complex terms. They vary wildly from baseline, ascender and descender to letter spacing and line height. For now, it's best to just lightly note that there are this many hidden visual elements within the characters we use every day. We are designers studying design systems. So, I'm only going to teach you exactly what you need to know for design system architecture. They are letter spacing, which is the space between characters, baseline and X height, the standards for visual alignment, ascender and descender, which create deviations in the box area, and finally, leading and line height, which dominate the overall box height. These are the core typography attributes of a design system. The first attribute we'll look at is letter spacing. As the name implies, it refers to the space between characters. When the font size scales up or down, adjusting this spacing appropriately improves readability. You can think of it as the most foundational attribute for systematically controlling the visual density of text. The next attribute is the baseline. It's the imaginary baseline where characters sit side by side. We also have the X height, which refers to the height of lowercase letters, specifically the lowercase x. These two serve as crucial standards for creating a visually stable alignment when mixing different font sizes together or placing text right alongside icons. Among the characters, there are alphabets with ascenders that extend upward and descenders that drop downward. Because of these areas, even when you apply mathematical centering in Figma, the text looks visually off-center to our eyes, appearing shifted upward. When building a design system, understanding why this visual deviation occurs is the very beginning of precise alignment. This time, we have line height, which is the most critical attribute in a design system. It is the spacing between lines of text, but at the same time, it determines the actual height of the bounding box that we see on our screens. You must remember that when calculating layout spacing, the standard metric is not the font size itself, but this very line height. What completes design system-driven alignment is controlling the box size, not the characters themselves. What developers actually position on the screen is not the raw text element, but the bounding box shaped by the letter spacing and line height we define. That is why we must establish systematic ratios for our text style values to keep the box sizes consistently managed. So far, we've looked at how the various attributes of typography and the names of each part function within a design system. The core takeaway of this chapter was understanding the difference between the raw text elements that designers see and the bounding boxes that developers actually position. Now that you've grasped this fundamental system, it's time to give each of these text boxes their own names and responsibilities in the next video. Next time, we'll explore how to divide and utilize distinct roles for each text style within a design system. I'm Dudu.